Hey everyone, this is Dan from DHTV, and today I'm going to be reviewing the HTC One M8. I'm going to go through the pros and cons of this device, so let's go ahead and jump right into it and take a look at the design. So the first thing we're going to take a look at with the HTC One M8 is the design, and you can definitely see that this phone looks like a very premium device, and it is. It's made of 90% metal, which wraps all the way around the edges of the phone, and if you compare this to the M7 of last year, the edges were made of a plastic material. So now we've got a more rounded feel, and this adds to the premium look, but also adds a little bit of slipperiness to the phone, so you really feel like you need to grip it a little bit tighter. As for colors with the M8, 3 different colors are available. This one right here is the silver color. It also comes in a black slatish looking color as well as a gold color. So it's very similar to what you would find with the iPhone 5S. Now if we move the phone to the front side, you'll notice that it's got a larger display. It's now a 5-inch 1080p display and has the full on-screen buttons like you would find on most Android devices. It also has 2 massive boom speakers, and these absolutely destroy any other phone on the market today. If you've had a phone with speakers on the back or even at the bottom like the iPhone, you know you always have to do that weird cupping motion so you can get the best quality sound and sort of get the sound to bounce off your hand. With these, you can almost hear things moving from one side to the other if you're watching movies, and honestly, I've been watching more movies on the M8 than I was watching on my tablet because of that. I have a Nexus 7 tablet, and having the speaker on the back, I'm definitely doing that cupping motion. So these speakers definitely are a huge pro to the M8. Now if we move to the back side of the M8, you'll notice that there are 2 cameras here. So starting off with the bottom camera, this is a 4 ultra pixel camera, and on the side you'll notice it has a 2-tone or dual tone flash, very similar to the iPhone 5S flash. And this is going to give you the warm as well as the cool colored flashes. Now above the camera is a 2 megapixel depth sensor, and this is going to allow you to take some really cool pictures, which I'll show you in just a little bit using the software inside the M8. One big downfall with the camera is that they've removed the optical image stabilization, and this makes for video that's almost unusable. So if you're someone who does take a lot of videos, this is going to be a very big problem. Now opening up the camera app, you can do this a few ways, but most people on the go, to capture that picture really quick, you would just take the phone, turn it horizontally, and then press on the volume rocker, and it'll bring up the camera app. Within the camera app itself, it looks fairly standard and easy to use. It takes pictures lightning fast. As you can see, I can take pictures almost as fast as my finger can tap on the on-screen shutter button. Where the camera separates itself from the rest is with its manual modes and its editing features. The manual modes allow you to control the white balance, ISO, exposure, and save them. You can see that you really have a lot of control on how your picture will look. Moving to the abilities of the dual camera depth sensor now, if we go to the edit section once we've already taken a photo, this is where we can implement the cool features of the camera. As you can see, you can blur out the background and focus on a specific item in the photo. You also have a really cool 3D effect that sort of allows you to look around the image. There are other effects as well. Instead of blurring out the background, you can sort of add different effects to them. There's also a feature that sort of lets you add a cinematic background that moves the photo around with some things floating around, different things like that. But I'll get into those when I do my full tutorial and review of the camera app down the road. Now, although these features look cool here, they are a little bit limited. Only certain images are compatible and they don't always look good. It takes practice, but HTC will be improving on these effects with updates in the Google Play Store. So it's definitely something with a lot of potential. As for standard photos, the quality is decent, but because it's only a 4 ultra pixel camera, the images don't look very good blown up. If a camera on a smartphone is important to you, you won't be blown away by the HTC One M8's quality. Now, as I said, the video quality on the M8 isn't the best, and that's due to the fact that it doesn't have image stabilization. But if you have a tripod or if you have a steady hand, you can still get a somewhat decent video. Personally, I'm finding that the camera on the iPhone 5S is a lot better than the M8. I've taken some side-by-side photos. You can take a look at them for yourself and decide which one you think is better on screen. On the right, you can see my iPhone 5S photo, and on the left, you'll see the M8 photo, and I'm finding that the M8 sort of dulls out certain photos or darkens the dark areas a lot, whereas the iPhone 5S sort of gives you a more natural look. This is my personal preference, but let me know in the comments down below which one you think takes the better photo. The M8 is running Android 4.4 with HTC Sense 6 skin over top. Comparing this to my Nexus 7, it doesn't feel all that different to stock Android, which to me is a pretty big plus. Now in terms of speed, smoothness, and abilities, the M8 has no problem scrolling through the interface, using apps, opening and closing them, surfing the web. It's all very snappy, which is expected from a flagship phone. When it comes to gaming, the M8 has no trouble at all. The 1080p display really pops with action-packed games, and when you combine that with the great sound from the boom speakers, the HTC One M8 is really hard to beat. While using the M8, I found the lock/wake button to be awkwardly placed. Because the phone is quite tall, one-handed locking or unlocking the phone was pretty tedious. Now when you combine that with the curved edge and the slipperiness to the phone, it can be quite scary to try to unlock or lock the phone one-handed. It would have been better if they placed the lock button above the volume rockers on the right side. But HTC did provide somewhat of a solution, which was actually very useful and beneficial. They added in a feature where you could use gestures to unlock the phone and access various features within the interface. Now for those of you who love the specs, the HTC One M8 is running with a 5-inch 1080p display, 2.3 GHz Snapdragon 801 processor, an Adreno 330 GPU, 2 GB of RAM, and a 2600 mAh battery. Now speaking of the battery of this phone, it's not the biggest battery around, but it's one of the best battery saving phones I've ever used. I'm easily able to get through a full day of pretty heavy usage with this phone without even getting to the 20% mark. I can easily get through 2 days with light to moderate usage, and this thing just sips battery life when it's in standby mode or when you have it locked. It's a very good battery in terms of smartphones and comparing with other smartphones. It also has a lot of features built in, like battery saving modes, as well as an auto brightness feature which works really well, and it really does help the phone itself take full advantage of the battery. Anyway guys, there's not much else I can say about the HTC One M8. I was very hesitant to purchase the phone because I had bad experiences with HTC back when Android first was launched with the HTC Dream, if you can go back that far. So I stayed away from the M7, I bit the bullet, I got the M8, and I'm very happy I did. It's a great phone. It's the best Android phone that I've used that has a skin over it with the HTC Sense 6. I'm really happy with it, and it's pretty much one of the best phones you can buy right now, and you would not be disappointed if you went out and purchased it. Anyway guys, thank you for watching. Let me know what you think of the HTC One M8. Also let me know what your thoughts are on the camera footage between the M8 and the iPhone 5S in the comment box down below. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. I post videos Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I've got a lot more videos coming up on the HTC One M8. Thanks again. I'll see you in the next one.